Okay, I think it's worked. Oh, but there's a really weird. So I don't know if there's anyone left watching this stream. I think that it's working okay now. I think that it's working okay now. Yeah. All right. So we've got Spotify working, and yeah. Okay. Come back. Everybody come back. Okay. So this potentially is probably one of the worst live streams I've ever done. Working things out on air. It's not a good look. I'm not proud of this. I apologize. According to this, no one's watching. So I'm apologizing to myself, which is probably the best thing. It's fine. It's fine. We're learning. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to talk about this piano. Okay, talking about this piano. As I mentioned before, it was a old upright piano, and it was recorded without the intention of actually recording it properly. It was a sketch. So now I've got to make it sound good. So let's see what I've been doing. Firstly, the most incredible plugin ever from SoundRedX called Auto Align, and maybe you're aware of this. This has been really useful because obviously, as I was recording this piano in a very haphazard way, I didn't really pay any attention to alignment of microphones, and probably use crazy mixed microphones, not appropriate microphones, nothing like that. So you know, that's where Auto Align comes in. Super helpful. And I can turn them all off and you might be able to hear the difference if I just solo the piano. Sort of. You can hear a bit of phasing, you know, not phasing, just misaligned. And here it. Right, so that's that, which is amazing to have. EQ wise, some interesting things going on with this. The low end, yeah, if I just mute the, if I bypass this EQ. I've got other EQs happening as well. I've got this API here, which I'll also bypass. You can just, there. So you can see I've been trying to add warmth. Also, there's this one frequency was really causing problems, especially towards the end. There. It's weird. I don't know where that came from, what that is. I mean, it's the major third suddenly. I don't want a major third. I don't know how that happened. There. I don't know if you can hear that. I mean, it's a beautiful sound, but it's the wrong sound. Especially if you hear it in conjunction with everything else. And because I have EQ'd a lot of it out, let's just hear that again. All sorts of stuff going on. And that's gone. Luckily. So, I mean, it's not totally gone, but some surgical EQ, which is good. And what else is happening? We've got some light compression. Not doing too much. I think, however I recorded this, it sounded quite compressed anyway. So I was obviously whatever interface I was using at the time. I don't know. Okay, this is cool. Let's see if we can hear the difference if I play from near the beginning. Okay. So you can see I've tried to take the attack off. If I just bypass this. And bring it back. We can even sustain. This makes a big difference, I think. Weird difference. So that's where, actually, I think that's a lot of the compressed sound. I think comes from that. Let's just reduce the. Weird. Okay, let's bring it back to about there. Let's increase the attack. It's so cool. Okay. So there you have the sort of getting closer to the piano sound I wanted. Now the API EQ. Let's bypass it so you can hear what that's doing. Okay, so this is my, I think this is my favorite EQ for piano. Any piano. Upright, with felt. I have an upright piano sitting right here that's felted up, which is a really warm sounding piano. You might have seen, heard it already. But this seems to do magic. Like, here it is. So yeah, I always tend to increase these a bit. Right, that warmth there. Too much. Is that too much? Maybe it's not too much. And then the 4K is the twang, which you need some of, weirdly. Yeah, there you go. That's that EQ, and then okay, this is cool. I wanted to go a bit further with reverb, but decided not to. It was just too odd. It was too inappropriate for the film, and I mean, so where are we on now? You can hear. I mean, it's nice, but it's such an effect. It's such a makes it sound like we're viewing something in the past, which is slightly appropriate because in the scene he is thinking about the past. But that's not what's happening. It's what's happening now. It's the moment he's in, right there and then. That's nice. I think there's some more. Oh yeah, you can see here. I think you can see. You can see I did try some other reverbs. Love this reverb. I almost want to keep that on actually. Go back to the beginning. The Segura Ross preset. Obviously ridiculously inappropriate, so let's stop that. And the other one I had there, I just did the Pro Wire. Yeah, Concert Hall LA, trying to be LA, doesn't work. And the Valhalla Room. Which is just bringing out stuff I've been trying to EQ out, I think. It's that wooden sound. So yeah, you can see the reverbs I tried going for. There's one on the Master Bus 2, very subtle gold plate. I always put a gold plate on the end of everything, really. Usually less than this, mix-wise, 16%. You can hear it. Anyway, so more like. So I'm happy with that. Let's look at the Master Bus. I think though you can hear it already. There's a problem with, and I think it's the way the piano's been recorded. There's too much energy in it. Weirdly, so there's a little breakdown here that happens. By the way, if you're watching this, please say hi in the chat. I would love to know you're there. If you're there. Okay, now I started playing the piano differently. This is how I wish I played the whole thing. Perky Pat, hello. Alright, you can hear straight away. I'm playing the piano completely differently for this. Anyway. Going back to the Master Bus. So, the God particle, which I believe I've talked about in the past. I always turn this off. Sort of a limiter. And I just use everything else, usually about 50%. So yeah, I really love that. Don't know what it does. I mean, it's sort of advertised in that way. It's a magic plugin that we don't really know what it's doing underneath the hood, but it sounds appropriate for me. And also, this is, I mean, basically, this is my sort of master bus template, really, the Studer, with those settings always. I can bypass it. You can hear what it sounds like without it. Actually, it sounds quite nice. It sounds a bit cleaner. Let's bring it back. Interesting. I might leave it off. And then, again, something I always seem to use is bypass this. So this is really useful for well, it's a mastering plugin. It's a mastering compressor. We have the volume simple. EQ, bit of stereo enhancer. Foundation is pretty cool. If we go back again. So you can hear it. It's sort of trying to, it's done what I was trying to do with the EQ on the piano. It just makes things rounder, less bright, and then obviously the other way it's brighter. I imagine everyone's sick of this melody by now. Let's look at what this plugin does when everyone's in. There, you can really hear the difference. And this THD is a sort of saturation type thing. It's pretty subtle. Anyway, the filters are cool. I've got it set to auto solo so you can hear what the filters are doing. So if we look down here, I could filter that out if I wanted to. Maybe that one I will filter. I mean, that's quite a nasty sound, so let's filter that out too. Yeah, that's coming together nicely. So everything else, strings just holding a long note, which is nice to them. This is just basically, you know, a soundscape. At the time, I was really into creating sounds like this out of, you know, reverb tails of maybe a clarinet or a gong or something like that. Take the reverb tail, record it at 96K, and then time stretch it hugely, add reverb, bounce that down, time stretch it again. Just making these really beautiful scapes, soundscapes, and sort of doing that while the director was present, and he said, well, they're naps. Nap. In Francais, it's nap, which is scape, I think. I'm not really sure. But that's what he was calling them, so that's what I call them. You can see they're in the channel name. You know, and this is the thing. I think this sounds great by itself. There's so much information in this. it's saying so much with such little information, but there's enough. I think the black hole, here we have Sergio Ross helping. Let's bypass this. Still good. Anyway, and there you have it. Yeah. Just Pat, I'm just asking you. You mentioned it's almost a whisper. I'm paranoid because I've had so many audio problems. That are you referring to the fact that something's wrong with the sounds for the stream, or that the soundscape is almost a whisper? Because, yeah. No. Thank you. And Glenn's back. That's great. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the soundscape is yeah. I wish I could remember what it was originally. I mean, there's a lot of it could actually be a clarinet, even though I know it doesn't sound like one. You know, I was reading today about Stravinsky and how he said that music creates the sensation of time moving in two different ways. And unlike any other art form, music can create the sensation of time, a progression of time, a movement of time. I mean, even, you know, the classical sonata form or a concerto form divided into movements. Movements is a word that's used a lot in music. And Stravinsky said there are two ways. One is just the standard pragmatic time is moving and the music is marking that time in real time. And the other way is the psychological time, i.e. Changing a mood through the contrast of different musical sections. And that's interesting because that's what we do in film music. We change moods. We create a progression from one mood to the next, which creates the feeling of movement, of the narrative, the arc, the journey of the film. So when you have something happening in a film where, forgetting about the music, but in the film, the character is going through some sort of progression, but the music stays static, i.e. holds back that progression. It's quite interesting, the tension there. So something like this soundscape, it's holding time back. It's almost like saying the music is not going to let the character move forwards, even though he or she wants to. And that's really interesting because everything else in this cue is saying something is moving, something is changing. And despite this being such a simple piece, the notes of the piano, it's a very simple melody repeated, but the strings and the soundscape work against that. I think that's really interesting, and I think that's where the emotional complexity comes into it as film score. So it was quite effective in the film. The lead actor was a French Canadian actor. He was in a film called Harry, He's Here to Help, and then he was in this film, and I can't remember his name. But he's a really amazing actor, and it worked really well. So that's that, Q. There's nothing else really much else to talk about. Oh yeah, the only other thing that I have there is on the master compressor. You can see the master faders right down because I've been just writing that while I've been talking. But crunchy. The bus compressor is the SSL one. I'm using the SSL, physical disks, the UF8, is it? The UF1 or the UC1. So it's really great because there's a whole tactile thing. You see the threshold there. I'm just changing that on the knob. Oh, thanks, Glenn. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know. It's strange things in it. It's so good to write something simple and yet still be powerful. I think that's the aim, I think, for me. Anyway, so there's a bus compressor. If I go back a bit. Oh, thanks, Pat. I'm so glad you're both here. And thank you for sticking with me on this. Yeah, I'm talking about the technical sort of mixing aspect, but I think I could perhaps mute sort of bypass all plugins, and it's always quite interesting to do actually, and then just see what happens to it all. Okay. Yeah, really interesting. It's still there, isn't it? It's a bit lo-fi, I guess you'd say. If I bring back, where's that one? That one. Okay, yeah. So actually, I think the plugins are helping. The plugins are helping to take away some of the edginess, the sort of the energy that isn't helping the story, the brightness, and it's also adding some warmth and intimacy. Actually, that's the word, is adding intimacy, which is what was missing. And the intimacy helps us as the viewer in the film connect to the character. It's like an oral close-up, sonic close-up. Anyway, there you go. That's that cue. And I'm assuming you can still hear me. I'm really sorry about the palaver with audio. There is just, it's difficult. It's difficult. So yeah, Pat and Glenn, nice to have you here, and anyone else who's also watching. I wanted to. Thanks, man. Thank you, Glenn. I will see you on the next one, and I feel like I have sort of maybe got the glitches out of this streaming thing, so maybe there'll be more soon. All right, Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye.